Welcome. Thanks for joining us today. Super excited.
Yeah, I like seeing this list of people. Hi, everybody. Some of you I know I'm going to see in just a couple of days, and so then I'll be able to wrap my arms around you and hug you and say
Totally
a real hello. But I'm glad that you're here with us today because we're talking about everybody's favorite topic, which is inventory.
Inventory. I thought you were going to say bunnies, or frogs.
Everybody's favorite QuickBooks topic, bunnies.
Yeah. Did you say QuickBooks topic? I thought you just said topic.
I said topic, but then I was like,
but now
she's revising.
She's revising.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
So inventory. Yeah.
Although I mean, out of anyone, I love inventory, but I'll admit it, it's not everybody's favorite topic. Typically, when I say that I'm like at a conference and, oh, what do you do? And I say, oh, I'm locate inventory. I don't even get the end of the word inventory
do you see the back of their heads?
And half of the people are running for the hills.
But see, okay, that's the whole reason that we're having this conversation.
Exactly, because I like to say that we take the out of the
inventory.
Okay, so you read my mind. I was like waiting for you to do it together.
When we did it together. So this is so exciting. I can't believe that we're here in San Diego together live. How all this happened was Liz and I were on tour with the QuickBooks Online Certification team, and we were with Alicia Katz-Pollock,
Yes.
and we were with MB Raimondi,
Yes.
and Donna Oman, and
Yes.
Rachel Meyer, and
Yes.
a lot of our friends, our pro advisor friends.
Yes.
And so it brought us here, and we knew we were going to be doing the session with you,
Yes.
Kylie. So we're like, party.
What's better than doing it via like a webcam? It's doing it together. That is super fun, and we are at the actual Intuit campus, and so what's really amazing is that we've got all of us here, and we did this really nice signage right above us, and it's about a foot above where we're actually sitting.
Can I try and tip this, or you think that's like playing with fire?
No, go ahead and bring it. Yeah.
There it is.
And keep in mind, like for everyone at home watching, this is magic of the internet. It's not magic. We actually wrote that backwards so that you could see it forward.
You're so talented. I would have been, that's awesome.
You know what I feel like we should have as a QB is our olive in there. So I actually have my sticker over there.
You want to put the olive in?
Yeah,
All right, we're going to put an olive here. You know, the other thing, maybe we could lift this up and put something underneath it, like maybe one of these little
rubber duckies.
There's
Okay, so
that works. See what I there we go.
Scooch my backpack over.
All right, we're going to scooch your backpack over.
Yeah, and so that way we can have an olive inside of our mocktail in our signage.
All right. I'm excited to get, it's backwards, hello. She says it's backwards. It is backwards. Look.
Do they flip it?
Oh, we tried.
We thought we were being
I did that
so
on my
nice.
We thought that we were out.
Hold on.
Continue, proceed.
Okay, and look here. Here's our
Oh, we're fixing it?
We're fixing it. Proceed,
Okay.
continue.
All right. Okay.
Oh,
So while we're fixing it, I think we should go through our introduction slides and get things kind of going.
And look, you even have your name tag on, so
Oh, I
everybody
do.
can
See,
who you are.
Yeah, and then I'm in the Intuit.
And that we're.
You guys were the cool ones. You put them on your.
I put them on my thigh.
On your thigh.
My thigh.
I'm pretty traditional here. I have it on my.
Well, sometimes the little fluffy shirts, they don't stick to very well. So who are we? Look, there we are.
I'm Liz Scott, and this is Heather Satterley, and we are. But we're doing these backwards, right?
Oh,
So, yeah. Okay. No, really.
Let's do everything. Let's just do the whole hour backwards.
Okay.
Thank you everyone for joining us. We'll keep scaling new heights.
Right? All right, we're getting a little silly. So anyway, for those of you that are joining us for the first time, my name is Heather Satterley, and I have a firm in Portsmouth, Rhode Island, and I've been using QuickBooks and third-party apps for a really long time. And Liz here is one of my besties, and we love to talk apps. So once a month or sometimes twice a month, we get together, and we're joined by our app developer friends like Kylie, and we talk about apps for an hour and how to use apps with QuickBooks Online and also how to do cool, fun things with QuickBooks Online. So that's what we're all about.
Yeah, so, and I'm Liz Scott. So I do a lot of the same things. Our firm is QuickBooks focused.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're in the QuickBooks world and you need integrations, you need setup, training, support, that's the kind of thing that we do. And so we love apps. I feel like apps are creating this whole other thing where we're able to say it's our departments can be an app. And so we don't have to have a whole staff. We can use the staff of the app to help us be able to have this extension of who we are and our offerings. So that is why it's really important to us to be able to make sure that we understand how the apps work, so that way we partner together really well to give the best experience to our clients and also to eliminate some of the headaches.
Definitely. I mean, I think the best partnership, I think, is the accountants and the app developers, because when we're communicating correctly, then you end up with magic, right?
Absolutely.
Beautiful records.
Absolutely.
But beautiful records, proper financials, right? And it's easy. And it's easy. That's number one. It should be easy, right?
It should be easy. Yeah. And we're a big advocate of just because you have a shiny, beautiful app doesn't mean that it's a great solution. It just means that you added another layer. And that doesn't mean it's a good layer. So that's where it's really important to understand how the apps work.
And so what we're going to talk about in this episode is we're going to be talking about inventory. And we're going to talk about, we know that QuickBooks Online, because we're very QBO focused, we know QuickBooks Online has inventory functionality in the QuickBooks Online Plus and QuickBooks Online Advanced. But you can only go so far with that. So when is the time that you need to start thinking about taking the inventory functionality out of QuickBooks Online and looking for an app? And then what are the different options out there for you?
So, I also want to say too, that inventory, we used to be able to say, oh, well, if you're in inventory or you have inventory needs, then you need to call our buddy over here who loves inventory so much.
Mm-hmm.
But as we start to have more and more businesses who are these small to medium-sized businesses who need to be able to sell online, they actually have inventory needs too. And so I think that it's becoming more common for us to have more small businesses who have inventory needs, which means even if you don't specialize in it, you can partner with somebody who does specialize in it to be able to accommodate your clients.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We should have a little sign.
Every time you say that.
Every time we say absolutely, we just hold it up so we don't have to say it.
We should make one. We could just totally make one.
Totally. All right. So huge thank you to Kylie and to Locate for joining us.
Thank you guys. This is so much fun.
Came and located us today at the hotel.
And helped us to locate a lot of things that we were having trouble locating.
And of course, we made apptastic jokes to go along with you helped us locate things today, and we were located. And can you find us? Can we be located?
Right. Can we be located?
So, yes.
All right. So our agenda today is, we've already welcomed you, so we can cross that off our list. Welcome again.
We like our list.
Yep. We're going to talk about solving for business inventory needs. Then we're going to raise our toast with our mocktail today. And then we actually do have a cocktail, but we have a special surprise about this cocktail, especially for people that are going to be joining us at Scaling New Heights. So wait for that. And then we're going to talk about our coolest thing that we're doing this month, and a preview of our next episode. So that's what we're going to do over the next.
Fun things are happening now and in the future.
There's going to be lots of fun things over the next week for sure. So, Kylie.
Oh, it's me. Hey.
You know that girl?
I do. Her hair is a little bit shorter then, but
fun. Yep. So we're glad that you're here, and we're introducing you earlier than sometimes we introduce people.
Right.
And the reason is because we're having this conversation. It makes sense to go ahead and say,
I appreciate it.
You?
I know. So who's that girl just hanging out on the side?
I'm looking at your bio here, and it says that you love smelly cheese. Do you have a favorite smelly cheese?
I mean, I love a good camembert. That's not the smelliest. The smelliest cheese that I love is actually called raclette, and it's something that's really popular in Switzerland. And you have this special grill where you grill like potatoes and meat on top, and then everyone has their own little tray where you melt your own piece of cheese. And it's disgustingly smelly. You can't do it inside. You have to do it outside.
Wow.
But it's so good. And then you take your meat and potatoes or your veggies and you pour the cheese over it, and it's amazing.
So Kylie,
yes,
I have never located that cheese before.
It's sometimes hard to locate that cheese. Just call up your local, gourmet shop, ask them to check their inventory, see if they can locate raclette for you.
I don't know that I've had raclette. I'm a big cheddar.
Ooh, yeah.
Like I live up in the Northeast and we like our cheddar.
I like blue cheese.
I like blue cheese too. That's a pretty stinky cheese.
Yeah.
It's a pretty We had Parmesan cheese lately. I don't remember what brand it was, but it was so strong. Like I had to get it out of my house. My husband tried to make nachos with Parmesan cheese.
It's weird.
Right? It was, I don't know if you didn't realize it or what, but it was
it
not.
Like real shaved Parmesan or like
It was
sprinkled
real.
cheese?
No, it was
okay.
real
Okay.
fresh
Okay,
Parmesan.
that's better. I was
It
thinking
was
like the
pretty
green
stinky.
green top like sprinkle can.
No, it was shredded. So I think that was where the mistake happened. So yeah.
Interesting.
And back from our cheese.
Yeah, we're gonna rein ourselves in from the cheese discussion. All right, so finding the right tool for managing inventory can absolutely be tricky. And I gotta tell you, I know a lot of pro advisors, as you said, that you even say the word inventory and they're like, nope. And they want to outsource it to somebody else.
Yeah.
So it's tricky in the sense that, every business seems to have different needs, from a retail store to an e-commerce store, to a light manufacturer, to a full manufacturer. It can become really, really complicated and seem very daunting.
Well, and then you get to like multi-warehouse, and it's just like, just go, I'm out. But somebody's got to help these people.
Definitely.
And there seems to be more and more of them. So being able to help educate each other on some best practices definitely makes sense.
And it's so important now. I mean, it used to be, and it still is for a lot of businesses, that they would, just do the periodic inventory. It doesn't do it anymore. If you want to be competitive in today's market, you have to have perpetual inventory. You have to know what you have in stock and when your stock is coming in, what you have on order, or you're not going to be able to compete with other businesses that are in your space.
We always tell people your inventory is your biggest asset.
Right.
For someone who's in a service company, you are your asset. Your skills, what you do. But if you're an inventory-based company, the things that you have on your shelf and knowing where they are and how many you have of them, that's what's going to make or break you as a business. And that's why it's really critical to have, to keep track of your inventory in a way that's sustainable, scalable, and something that you can keep up with and actually stick to.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And some, as we're saying, QuickBooks Online, we do have inventory, but it's pretty bare bones. We do have bundles. So we can do a little tiny bit of kitting, I guess, but we don't have assemblies. It's
no manufacturing.
no manufacturing. With our QuickBooks Desktop, we have a little bit more flexibility. We do have the assemblies, but it can be a little clunky at times.
Yeah, and we're truly moving to a world that's online.
That is online.
That's where we're focused. Is we usually on Appy Hour we're talking about QuickBooks Online. We're talking about apps that connect to it. So
well, and it is, and that's the thing is that you in today's age you have to be able to integrate all of your technology together in order to stay competitive.
Especially the more pieces that you have, the more that all of these tools need to be able to fit together. And sometimes you can truly do, let's go ahead and go to the next slide. Let's say, let's just like roll it on forward. And so we were talking about, all of these different types of different businesses that need to be able to have inventory. And even the next one, it's like it's like the QuickBooks one. That's what slide it to the next.
Oh, you want the next one?
Yeah.
Oh, sure. Okay.
I think we'll have it in that other order. It's like if we're talking about QuickBooks and we're talking about inventory inside of QuickBooks, we have some new things that we're able to go in there. We can put the quantity adjustment in there. We can say what our reorder point is. Whenever we're hovering over and making a transaction inside of QuickBooks, we can see how many of those things do we have inside of QuickBooks to be able to sell. But whenever I'm talking to somebody who's a client and they've got inventory issues and they're saying to me, hey, I want to track inventory, I'm like, whose job is it?
You're not sharing your slides, it looks like.
Oh, I didn't share my screen. Now we're sharing.
Now we're sharing.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and say, whenever we're inside of QuickBooks Online, we can go ahead and we can do some really nice things with using the QuickBooks Online features, because QuickBooks is really trying to get better at being able to manage some of that inventory. But you have to kind of remember that that's kind of a light inventory business. Maybe that's truly one of those smaller ones. They've got to start somewhere. Everybody starts somewhere.
Yeah, you can't just jump right into an ERP level solution. You have to start start small. Yeah.
And then when you're starting out with something small, that gives you an opportunity to say what's working, what's not working. How do I reorder? And so we were talking about reordering actually truly matters. And so a lot of these e-commerce tools, especially, they will let you sell past the point of zero. And if you're out of them, then you're going to have bad customer service.
Right. Yeah.
If you're not quickly turning around that item to be able to offer it to your customer. One of the things that's nice about having QuickBooks inventory is that you're able to see all in one spot what you've got in stock and what your sales are. And so you're able to say what's happening with my inventory levels. But whenever you get to the point that you've outgrown that, it starts getting to the point that you have these wacky inventory levels that start to get negative, and you're pulling a balance sheet and you're saying,
these numbers don't make sense.
These numbers don't make sense.
And that's holding your business back. You know,
Absolutely.
It's kind of that weird crossroads of once you get to that point of growth, that's really when you need those processes in place where you can scale and keep moving forward instead of, oh, I just started to grow. Wait a second, my systems can't keep up. And then you can miss your chance and fall backwards.
Absolutely. Well, that's a really, really great point. So when you start thinking about inventory, some of our businesses, even some of our current clients, they have true brick and mortar locations, and they're thinking it's time for us to go ahead and scale back, and we're going to go ahead and start selling online, and our brick and mortar is going to maybe go away because now they can sell online. And you're thinking how much easier that can be, except for then you have all of these pieces that may not be in the brick and mortar location, but you have drop ship. So where does that come from? And so you need to be able to have some tools, and that's where sometimes QuickBooks has a little hard time being able to keep up. So if you get to that point that you start small and then you go, all right, now I have even more needs. And so whenever we're talking about inventory, that's whenever we definitely need to partner with a solution to have more robust features to be able to keep up with drop ship and multi-locations and all of these warehouses. And
and have room to scale, right? And have room to grow. So we want to look for an application that is going to be great for, today, for a year, 2 years, 5 years. Maybe you can look for something about that. But I would say probably about 5 years when you're looking for an inventory solution.
Because it's so disruptive to constantly be switching systems. And that's what we saw a lot when we were consultants, is that people were jumping to just barely the next level, but that would only get them, another year or two. And then it's disruptive to change systems. So you really want something that's going to work for your process now, but then also stretch and scale and grow with you when your process changes and grows and becomes even more dynamic.
Right.
And so the part of our jobs that we're doing is we're always asking our clients, like, what are your plans? Where are you going? What are you wanting? What do you want to be when you grow up? And if they want to be a big business and have more and more growth in size and scale, it really does matter that we want to place them in a tool that's going to help them with that journey.
And we also want to reduce, we were talking about having assistants talk to each other. We want to reduce that data entry. And so if you're using QuickBooks and you need a shipping solution, right? We want to, and we need a shipping solution. We don't want to be entering data manually into a bunch of different places.
We are so past that.
No,
we are so past manually entry.
But I think that that's something that, when you can find a solution that can handle multiple pieces, that just makes the whole system work better. When you, as you said, as you start to grow and you start out small, there might be 1 or 2 people that are doing all of the processes in the company. But as you grow, you need to start bringing in and delegating some of those works, like the shipping process or the receiving process. And one of the things about QuickBooks is we definitely don't want our shipping and receiving people in our financial data, right? And because we have those limited permissions, that can be a challenge for a company that's trying to manage the inventory in QuickBooks alone. So looking outside for a solution at that point would be really important as well.
Yeah, and that's a really good point. So while we're still focused on talking about the QuickBooks piece of it, so QuickBooks does a really nice job of accounting.
Yes.
So we love QuickBooks for the accounting piece. And we do know that there's things that they do that allow you to also, if you have other parts and pieces of things that you do, that there are some things that are built in. But then as you get to the point where you need to have more solutions, you also need to add on to the accounting. And so what that means is if you're doing it all yourself, it's really nice for you to be working in your accounting platform. But if you have lots of users, we want to keep them out of our accounting software.
Yeah, we do.
So that's where I was going with that. It's
Right,
like, that's like our secret little heart. I mean, that's like, you know, those are the brains of the operation. We want to get some of our users. Our warehouse users do not need to be in the heart and soul accounting pieces of our software.
Right.
So
I'm going to go backwards to the next slide, and then we'll go forward 2 slides.
I like that. Yeah.
And then I think that
This one?
yes.
Okay.
We're going to do this. So when do we look for an inventory app? And we were just talking about, I think the one on the bottom we just kind of covered, which was the internal controls, right?
Yes.
So keeping people that really shouldn't be in the financial data out, so they're still able to do their job, but they're not having access to sensitive financial information. So
That
definitely
matters.
assemblies. So if you,
Right.
you know, accountants are, I don't want to say notorious because I don't think it's a notorious, I don't think that's the right word. We're really, really good at finding workarounds for things. We're very analytical, right?
Yes.
And so we can come up with really innovative, fun ways to, maybe not fun ways, that's not the right word either, but creative ways to get the financials to look the way that they should. However, most of the time when we're coming up with those workarounds, they're super time consuming, and they're wrought with errors, right? Because if you don't make the entry correct, it's, you know, or you don't stay with the same system, then you're going to end up with inaccurate data.
Yeah.
So, so, you know, while there's different workarounds, there's definitely reached a point where you need to just find a solution that's built to do what it is that you need to do.
So a really good example of that, what came to my head was I had a client that called, and they were into making salad dressings. And so whenever I was talking to him, he was, you know, kind of a seasoned fella. And so I was talking to him, and I was in my head, I'm picturing him in his kitchen making these salad dressings, and his family's involved, he's telling me. And so I'm thinking, all right, so this, like, the kitchen size grew a little bit when he started talking about his family and making the salad dressings. And I'm like, okay, so we can kind of do some of this in QuickBooks. And I was thinking about all the parts and pieces and how to do it, some light assembly. And then he was telling me, like, the multiple thousands of bottles that he was selling. And I go, oh. And so I was like, man, my picture of this guy getting together with this family in his kitchen, it was like this really large kitchen. I was like, oh wait, we just got rid of the kitchen. So we outgrew QuickBooks at that point. So we're like, you know, at that point, we need something to be able to help us with those assemblies.
Definitely.
Yeah, his kitchen wouldn't fit inside of the assembly. So we outgrew that one, all the bottles and the packaging and the labels. And, you know, one of the things that we have with inventory is sometimes we have all of the delivery of the goods.
Yes.
So we've got to receive all of our inventory.
And with things like salad dressing, you have to think about recalls. If one bottle ends up having something, you know, not great, are you able to go back and figure out what went into that bottle, and of those ingredients, what other bottles did they go into, and track those down?
Tracking, cereal.
That's a great point.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And then so assemblies for sure. So assemblies, we don't have that. So if we're kind of doing it in a spreadsheet, we get to a point where that's just not going to work anymore.
It's just not going to work.
And so we're going to need to find something that actually has the capabilities to do that for us in a, you know, in a more streamlined way.
Yeah.
Or efficient way. And one of the things that I also find, I mean, I think we talk about this a lot, is that when people are looking for technology and they have these workarounds and price comes up, right? They start looking for really great solutions. And like, wow, that's really expensive. I don't know if my business can afford that. And what you have to think about is, what is the cost of your time to actually handle these workarounds and do everything manually? Because I think a lot of times they don't think about that because they figure they're not, you know, they don't equate their time to money, and they really should.
Yeah.
You know, so whenever I'm talking to somebody, we're talking about the price of an app. And sometimes whenever we get into some of these apps are $800 a month, and they're like, oh, I'm out. I'm like, okay, but you couldn't hire somebody to do all of the things that this app is suddenly going to take over. And so we start dissecting, and I threw out a big number, and I intentionally did that because I want to be able to point out that whenever you're talking about these apps, they truly can take over the job of a person. They truly can take over the job of a department. And one of the most important parts is they allow you to collaborate.
Right.
Yeah.
So no longer does there have to be the one person who knows how to open up the Excel sheet and do that weird little thing that you do every single time that there's an asterisk or a caret that you do. Whenever it's inside that location, then it's always got the X. When it's in this location, it's always got the caret. It's, so to be able to say you're using an app that's actually designed to be able to tell you what warehouse it is and everybody can collaborate, that's valuable.
So some of the other things that we have here on our slide is, kitting. We do have bundles, but we don't
Not
have
kidding.
true kitting, but not treating. All kidding aside. All kidding aside.
Where's our sign?
Right? So, kitting is one of those things if you need to keep track of component parts and, just even simple assembly like piecework, things like that. You're going to need an app for that unless you want to go back to spreadsheets. Right. So consignment inventory, that's a big one. And we see a lot of that happening. Actually working with a client right now that has consignment inventory. So how do you handle that? And there, there's definitely, locate handles consignment.
Yeah.
So that's something that we would definitely, would want to look outside of QuickBooks for. The manufacturing, right? Manufacturing clients. That goes without even saying.
I completely agree. So, we have some clients that, again, they started off really, really kind of small doing this one thing, and they were doing some piecing it together themselves, and then suddenly they became the hot thing in town to sell this thing that they were doing, and they tried to create their own software to be able to handle all of the different parts and pieces. And so then they were trying to teach all of their people how to use this really creative software that they internally made. And everybody was confused. And so it was like, well, wait, there's apps out there. So we can go in, we can find something, because
the wheel was already made.
Something's already made. And guess what? That's what they do.
Yeah.
They actually don't do this other thing. They actually make that software. That's what they focus in. And so let's go look at a software that will do the thing that you need to do. And that's their primary focus.
Yeah.
That's your department, right? It becomes that department.
How about e-commerce?
Dun, dun, dun,
Dun, dun, dun.
I just like those little e-commerce businesses. So that's a really, really big one. So whenever we're talking about a biggie, whenever you're talking about e-commerce, is where is your inventory currently? Where are you sending your inventory? So being able to have a location tracking to say where are those things. So if you sell past the point of zero, a lot of these softwares, these different channels, they're going to allow you to sell. And then because of now we know we can quickly reorder, we're able to sometimes just drop ship directly there. So it's not a big deal, but we have to have the information really, really fast. So that way it's timely to be able to have a really good customer experience.
And then the other thing that I would just say about e-commerce is that, most e-commerce businesses now are not selling just on a single platform. So they're multi-channel. So they're omnichannel.
Yeah.
They're selling, on lots of different platforms. And so being able to handle all of those different locations and channels is really.
And again, you would not want to connect all of those different channels to your QuickBooks.
Exactly.
You're going to connect it to something that's going to be, I call it the mothership of inventories. Right? So mother wants to keep all of the things. So the mothership of inventory has all of the different pieces, and then you would take all of your different channels and it would be arms. And so you'd be able to say, here, I'm going to be the mothership, and I'm going to send out all of my inventory, and then I know whenever I receive more of it here, and then I'm able to send it out over there. So being able to have one spot that you plug in. So if you think of even your power outlets, that everything comes into the power outlet and you send it all out in all your different cords.
And I would say to pro advisors that are just getting started with apps and process automation services for their clients, because a lot of pro advisors are now getting into that type of service offering, is that you really got to map out those processes and actually map out the data. To really understand where is it coming from, and then you have to figure out, like you said, the source of truth app, right? Which is your inventory app, and then everything else plugs into that. But you have to identify right up front what is going to be your application of record, right?
Yeah,
and I think that's I think that I find that a lot of people struggle with that. They don't, they know that they need to kind of find that central point, but sometimes it can be hard to.
And it's hard to let go if one thing has been your central record for so long, and now this this other thing might be the best place for it. It's hard to let go of not having everything where you're used to have it, but that's just part of growth.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly right. Yeah. So the other one, multiple locations, which we just kind of goes right into that conversation in the 3PL.
Yeah.
So a lot of clients now that I've worked with are going to 3PL work. So they're outsourcing their distribution of their products. So that complicates things in a number of ways. I mean, sales tax, right? So if I'm shipping out products and I'm using a 3PL and my inventory is housed in a state that I'm not in, right? It's a huge thing that people might not even think about, but that's something that's a very real concern. And then just understanding, where is the inventory in all of these different locations so that you have an accurate, balance sheet.
Yeah.
And you can keep track of all your orders.
Right.
Yes. So it is 1:30 on the dot. And you know what that means.
I do know what that means. I mean, that I'm thirsty.
Mocktail time.
Right.
Mock and roll.
Yeah.
Mock and roll. Oh, that's hilarious.
I need a sign for that one too.
All right. Okay. So, oops, I went right past it.
We have to totally give you credit for this
I know.
game.
This was awesome. We have
Thank
to
you.
tell the story of how this
Yeah,
came
go
about.
ahead.
So back in April, we knew that Kylie was going to come on the show. And so we had said, it's April
Yes.
on Facebook. And so when we were talking about
So
drinks,
playful.
right. So Kylie, your favorite.
Yeah, and I was actually, I was traveling in April, in visiting
April.
family in April, visiting family in France, and this is a very popular drink in Europe, and I never really had it in the United States before seeing it there. And so I had one night and literally got back to where we were staying and laid down for bed, and I was like, Aperol Spritz. And I emailed you guys from there in the middle of the night. I have the cocktail. We have to do an Aperol Spritz.
And so we were both like, whoa!
Yes, we were.
Yes.
It was perfect.
Yes.
It was perfect.
Yes. So,
This is my favorite cocktail in the whole world. It's delicious. So I encourage you to try it, even though it sounds a little crazy.
And
it's like the easiest drink too.
Very
It is
easy and
super
so
easy.
refreshing. Yeah. It's like the best, early afternoon, relax on a hot day. Really
Oh,
tasty.
Andy Terry
Andy
says Aperol Spritz to everyone.
It's the best cocktail name ever. We agree.
Annie.
We could not agree
I love
more.
Annie.
I love Annie too.
Yeah, she's a
We're
pretty
all
special
sending you a
person.
giant hug, Annie.
We're sending it to
We're sending it
you.
So we are at
Okay, I'm
the
getting
Intuit
mine.
office, and these are actually mock Aperol Spritz because we couldn't have.
We are at a work location.
We're at a work location,
They're mango
so but we are going to have real Aperol Spritz
together live.
together live.
Yes.
It's Scaling in High.
Correct.
So
Yay.
and maybe later today.
Never say never.
Never say
say
never.
never.
So if you are going to Scaling New
Cheers,
Heights,
cheers.
cheers.
Oh, just this version of it's very refreshing.
It's very refreshing. And I love the oranges. Thank you, Liz, for getting. I'm the only one that orange. Wow, I'm so special.
Well, so being here, I want to share because I some of our VODs haven't got to come to one of the Intuit campuses. The Intuit campuses, they're very, very eco-friendly. They're very health conscious, and so one of the things that they do is they have some really nice food selections here. They have some really nice places to be able to go and do some creative things. And so down in the actual cafeteria, the thing that they had was they were teaching people how to make some healthy meals.
They were
The employees.
salsa. They were
Yeah.
making salsa and
And practicing knife skills.
Right,
So
and
it's like
knife
the
skills,
skill
yeah.
of the day.
Yeah, so it was
So
life
awesome.
skills. So I really thought that was pretty cool that Intuit is very fully engaged with its people
Mhm.
and employees,
right.
people. And so we got this orange
We
from
did.
the life skills.
Knife skills.
Knife skills.
Knife skills for your life skills.
I'll drink to that.
I do
They're really mocktails.
for your food. Your knife skills for food.
Oh my goodness. So come and find us. So we're all, I have your booth number on the slide at the end, but we'll be at Scaling, all three of us will be at Scaling New Heights.
Can I do the come and find me? This? Can I do it?
Oh, right now?
Can I do it?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
Okay, but we're all gonna hide.
Okay,
So
hang
we're going
on.
away.
We're gonna
We're
go
going
into our
over here.
secret little spot for just a second. All right, ready?
Ready?
1, 2, 3. Ta-da! We've been located. Is mine on?
Yours is on. Is mine on?
Yours is on? Yours is on?
Yeah. Is mine on?
We are all
Okay,
on,
we're all
ladies.
on.
We're
So,
live on the air.
This is how they'll find us at Scaling.
They will
Yes.
find us. Look for us at Scaling.
We will be locatable.
We'll be easy to
Locate. No regrets in what we named our app now.
I think it's fantastic.
I love
Because look, wait. Here, there's more. Come on, we just have to do
Oh,
this.
we do.
It's holding up the computer. It's
Oh,
okay.
wait, we'll share.
Okay, so
We're sharing.
you got to get all of your ducks in a row for your inventory. Okay,
All right.
so I want to say something about locate inventory. You know, you've done lots of little playful things and you're fully engaged with accountants. One of the things I love about that, before we just get even started, is we want to say thanks for that, because
Aww.
really inventory, whenever you hear people say, oh, well, I don't do that.
Yeah.
You're reaching out playfully and you're
Trying
saying,
to pull you back.
yeah, you're saying, hey, we're actually going to help you. We're gonna be that inventory department,
Yeah.
which makes it valuable to our clients because then we're able to find a solution that you have.
Center line.
So locate started
Okay, yeah, so I really think that's important to
10 minutes ago.
Wow. Okay.
Okay. I'll just start back with our locate journey.
Yeah.
Now it'll be even better the second time around because I've had a practice.
Right.
So locate started. Our previous iteration of our company started in the late 2000s, providing consulting for inventory-based companies in the QuickBooks ecosystem. So we would provide e-commerce integrations and reporting for inventory companies that were using QuickBooks and a third-party inventory software. And what we found is that our clients had a lot of pain points, and they were coming to us, and we were able to get them to a certain degree, helping them with consulting, but there were just some major limitations that they weren't able to scale with their existing software and with QuickBooks. Their file was filling up when they were bringing in hundreds of orders, thousands of parts. It just wasn't sustainable. So they were faced with the decision of sticking it out or jumping to an ERP system, which would have cost them hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Right.
And a mid-sized growing company, that's just not something that it feels good. So we wanted to provide a solution that was going to enable our clients to stay in the QuickBooks ecosystem, let QuickBooks do what it does best, which is the accounting, but also scale your inventory-based company. So we decided to build our own. And so we used our experience in the industry with inventory, accounting, and our software knowledge, and just everything that we had learned from our clients, because they were telling us about their process, what were their needs, what did they want in a software. And so we put that all into Locate. And that's how Locate was born. And we launched in January of 2017.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And you've been very engaged in the accounting platform area. So you've been very, very connected to our feedback and listening to us and saying, hey, we've got inventory over here that can help you and be your inventory department and partner with you. And so you have some really nice, some ways to be able to pull accountants in to be able to say, we've got you covered.
Yeah.
And some inventory education. I think that, a lot of us that are out there, we've been very focused in our accounting solutions that sometimes, being able to say, this is how you do inventory, and everybody's a little bit different. So I think you do a nice job of educating.
I probably missed that part too, of talking
about desktop and online.
Oh, that too. Yeah. Well, first, the fact that our goal with Locate is really to show, like, we understand that inventory is terrifying. Inventory, as it was, before we built Locate, it can be a really scary beast. It can get really messy, especially with financials. It's a lot, so we completely understand why it's not everybody's cup of tea. And so our goal is to show people, especially in the accounting community, that inventory is totally an accessible demographic, especially with a partner like Locate, where we focus on the accounting. We make sure that once it gets into your hands, it's exactly how you want to see it. No extra data, nothing to mess around with. You can actually focus on improving, doing what you do best and not cleaning things up. And then, and also QuickBooks Online and Desktop.
Right. So I had asked about whether, Locate works with QuickBooks Desktop, and that was really how it was born, right?
Yeah.
Was out of your expertise at QuickBooks Desktop, but it is cloud-based, as you said.
Yeah, so our platform is cloud-based. Our clients that we were working with when we built Locate were primarily on desktop. And we wanted to give them kind of a a migration path to the cloud. So our clients can start on desktop or wherever they're comfortable, and then switch to QuickBooks Online whenever they're ready. And that's what happens with a lot of the bigger companies. They don't want to completely disrupt everything. So they want to stay on QuickBooks Desktop just to get started. And then once they feel comfortable, they'll let us know and we'll go ahead and we'll make the switch, and they're on QuickBooks Online and everything's in the cloud, and they're really happy because they can access their data from anywhere, and it's fast and easy and super clean.
So I have a really important question.
Yeah.
So who are your best customers? Who do you work best with?
Oh my goodness. So many. So
Even the size companies too.
Size I think for Locate is really the determining factor, because industry, we are all over the board. We are skincare, automotive, food, cannabis, everything. But it's really size. It's our minimum user count is 5 users, and that's primarily because that's the size when we start to see the pain points that you guys were talking about, where you really need someone doing your shipping and someone in purchasing. And once you have that workflow in different departments, that's when Locate is going to just help you scale exponentially. So 5 users is our minimum. I would say our median ideal customer is between 10 and 30 users.
Okay.
And they're doing between 1 and 100 million a year in revenue, and processing maybe 50 to 1,000 orders a day.
So how many people do you feel like are going to be touching the Locate system itself? So you're saying.
Yeah. You have, like we were talking about having your system of record, Locate becomes your hub, right? It's going to be where your salespeople are entering sales, or they're coming in automatically from your Shopify, your Magento, your Amazon. It's where you're entering your purchase orders. It's where your warehouse team, either using the desktop or our mobile application, are picking, they're packing, shipping, receiving, everyone in the warehouse.
Yeah.
It really is your hub. And then accounting, Locate was really built with accounting as the foundation, because we saw that was another pain point with some other systems, was that accounting was the afterthought, and it makes your life a little bit more difficult. So we wanted to make sure that accounting was really at the forefront when we were developing. So we have.
And you do some really cool things with accounting. So
We do.
I do want to point out that some of us who do like the summaries, you can actually push Locate summaries into QuickBooks. So that's for us. There's a lot of us out there who want to be able to say, we want to keep QuickBooks clean, and we want to be able to have the details that we need inside of QuickBooks. And sometimes all of the inventory pieces is not something that we need to have in there. Locate's going to do a really nice job of being able to have some robust reports there, but you can do some summary. So go ahead and take that away. I want to share that with people.
That was, I would say that's reason number one that we built Locate, was to make QuickBooks more scalable and to keep people on QuickBooks longer. That meant sending less data over. So we do what's called batched accounting, where every day we write to one single journal entry all of your prepaid transactions, prepaid customers, inventory adjustments and movements. That all that nitty gritty stuff stays in Locate. And then one journal entry goes over with the delta, as well as any unpaid invoices. And that's what goes to QuickBooks. It's what you need to do the AR and the AP, and just that overall financial data, and all that detail, everything else stays in Locate, because that's where you want it. You don't want that in QuickBooks. So we can see what a difference that makes. Here's an actual customer. So on the left is one single day of transactions in QuickBooks when they're using another platform. On the right is 5 days of those same transactions using Locate. So that just is a tiny snapshot of how much cleaner. How much cleaner, and that's just 5 days.
Wow.
How that's going to keep your QuickBooks.
Sometimes there's reasons to have the detail. We get that. We truly get that. But the other times you let your systems who handle the things that they do best, and you let them do it, and then you can.
And everything's there. There's no, no data is gone. Everything's there, and we keep really extensive audit trails. Like we were talking about the importance of recalls.
Yes.
Every single action of inventory is audited within Locate. Who did it, where they did it, why they did it, what time they did it, where were they when they did it, everything down to the second. And that's really important, so that if there is anything that you as an accountant need to go and investigate, it's all there. You just hop into Locate and you can track down any little tiny thing.
Amazing.
Yeah, I have a slide about that.
Be able to get your details inside of the system that handles
There's
those
our
details.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So whenever you're talking about, so this is audit history. I really like the audit history. We're big into being able to see who did what and who did when and where. But, I want to make sure, so we're kind of getting close to the bottom of the hour, and I want to make sure that one of the things that we talk about is that workflow.
Yeah.
So whenever you're talking about any type of integration, especially whenever it's complex like inventory, one of the other things that I really think is pretty unique and special about Locate is you have a really nice workflow. So being able to understand, I was joking earlier when I said the mothership, the mother hub, but being able to see which directions things are pushed, that bi-directional sync, what's the order, what's the flow of things. The more complicated it gets, you need to know which direction are things located.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, I think because we're talking a lot about e-commerce, and that's a big industry for us. That's especially e-commerce can become high volume e-commerce really fast.
It can.
And that's where it's really important to have that workflow in place. So I think that's a great example of a workflow would be a sales order coming in from Shopify. It automatically creates the order in Locate, depending on how, and all of our integrations, the great thing is they're included. So you can connect to as many Shopify stores as you need. Heather, as you were saying, so many people nowadays, you have a B2B channel, you have this brand, you have that brand, and they're all connected. That all comes into Locate. You can have unlimited connections, and each of them can be customized. So maybe you want it to come in and automatically issue your sales order so that it immediately goes to your warehouse to start picking. Maybe you need to look it over and maybe make some adjustments or have a QC check. Locate's workflows are super dynamic in that sense, and they also grow with you. So when you're starting out as a small company, you're going to take that one order, you're going to pick it, you're going to pack it, you're going to ship it. And then as you grow, maybe you're going to start wave picking. So now instead of picking each order at one time, we're going to create a pick path throughout your warehouse where it's going to be the most efficient way to pick 100 orders at a time, just making one pass through the warehouse. And that's just the way that Locate can grow with you. So it's not super overwhelming when you first start it, because a 5-user company is not going to want to wave pick. That's going to just, it'd be terrifying. But once that 5-user company becomes a 20-user company, that's going to save them hours and hours.
It is.
Yeah. So I'm happy. I mean, I really like the things that you're doing, and I really like that you're coming to the conferences. And so, so many of us are going to be at Scaling next week.
Yeah.
And I like that we're having this conversation right now, because this primes it for being able to say, people who are out there who have these inventory clients and you're wondering about which solutions, make sure that you come over and you talk to all of the apps that you want to talk to, all of the questions.
There's tons of amazing apps out there, definitely.
Yes. And if you've got inventory questions, where are you going to be located?
We're going to be located at booth number 39.
39, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I have it on a slide, so we'll be uploading the slide deck to our website a little bit later, and I have that information on there for our folks.
Wait, I want to show off one slide because I'm really proud of it.
Yeah.
I figured out how to, hopefully this actually works. Wait for it. It's a GIF. Look at that.
Very cool.
Or a GIF, depending on how you say it. I was just really proud of that and wanted to show you
I think GIF is the peanut butter, and
I say GIF. It's a very heated debate.
Yeah.
It's a very heated debate. Yes.
That's very cool.
Fantastic.
Awesome. So unlimited phone and email support.
I just want to read them.
I know.
This was another, I'd say, so summarized accounting was number one. Our second biggest reason for building Locate was customer support. Because our clients, when we were consultants, ended up calling us because they couldn't get a hold of their software provider. And so we ended up being the ones that would pick up the phone, and we would help them as much as we could. And so we vowed that that would not be us. Once we became a software provider, we answer our phones. You can call us 24/7. We have an emergency line. We answer our emails. Like we really want to feel like we're part of our client's team, and we want them to feel the same way about us. Because when they grow, we grow.
Right.
It's mutually beneficial to, help them make the most out of Locate and scale their business and grow. And that's what we love seeing and what we love doing.
So Maria, she said that she is going to come, Mariette said that she's going to come and locate you.
Yay! Very excited to talk to you.
Yes. I love that. Yes, I love that.
That's amazing. You guys have 100% customer retention.
We do.
That's
and actually,
amazing.
we like to say now that we have 110% because we had a really small company who came onto Locate, and they were just a little bit on the small side. So they came to us and said, we think we might need to go somewhere else for a while and then come back. And about 10 days later, they came back and said, there's no one else that does what you guys are doing. So we're going to keep going. And so we have 110% customer retention. They came back.
That's awesome. That's amazing.
Yeah, they were actually on Shark Tank. Super exciting company. Yeah.
So you have the next slide that says a few of your favorite features. I'd love to see those. Landed cost.
Yes.
That's a huge ask.
This is my favorite accounting feature. So we have a dedicated reconciliation module. So when your bill comes in, you reconcile it in Locate, and you can add a landed cost line and distribute that across the bill based on any factor. It can be it can be the weight, it can be the quantity, it can be the cost, or a custom field. You can say, I want my red ones to, have more of my landed costs than my blue ones. So it can be anything, and that'll automatically hit your cost layers in the right way. And that's really exciting.
You seem so excited about it.
I love that feature.
That enthusiasm just spills out. I want red ones and I want blue ones too. I want to do it too.
I just think that, I love inventory. Like, people look at us, we're a pretty young company, just, young millennials writing software, and people assume, oh, you guys must like create the next Instagram or something really trendy. And we're like, no, we wrote an inventory app. Like, really? Yeah, we must really love inventory.
I have a question from John Wood, who's asking, how do you handle composite and bundled products from WooCommerce?
Ooh, that's a good question. WooCommerce, I don't want to say anything specifically offhand. I know with our e-commerce integrations, we do support bundles when it's supported by the e-commerce platform. We do hit limitations with certain integrations where it's limited from that side coming in. So for example, Magento and Shopify are really great, really dynamic about configurable products, bundles, things like that. WooCommerce, I know, is one that's a little bit more limited just due to the way that they allow people to connect to them. So I'm not sure offhand, but I'd love to follow up and get that question answered for you from our team once I have a little more information. Yeah.
Excellent. So just saying that right there, I want to go ahead and just shout out to anybody who wants to have more information.
Yeah, in the chat.
Let's go ahead and go ahead and put that in the chat right now, because it looks like Dawn would probably like to have some follow-up conversation.
Definitely.
Yeah, we'd love to chat, and we'd like to talk about inventory, obviously. So
yes. Excellent. Fantastic. So do you want to
teach your favorite thing? We do have I won't spend time on it, but we do have a partner program, so please reach out. Kate is our partner manager. She'll also be at Scaling New Heights. She's also my sister-in-law. So come talk to us, and we will get you set up with that.
Perfect.
Great referral program. There you go.
All right. So we're going to
Scaling New Heights. I actually arrive in Salt Lake City tonight, so I'm excited about that. I will be located I will be located in Salt Lake City tonight.
I like it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go home, and I'm going to get my daughter and I'm going to put her in my suitcase for real this time. I'm going to take her with me.
Are you coming in the conference?
Yes.
So exciting.
I know.
That's awesome.
I think that it's just going to be one of those environments that I feel like Scaling New Heights changed my life. Mm-hmm. So Anne, she took me along to scaling for the first time, and I was just like, whoa,
I could not agree more. Yeah.
And I can't wait this year's message is going to be really, really interesting to me and fantastic. The transformation. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, isn't that just a very relevant conversation to be having right now? So I can't wait to hear just the flow of ideas and the unveiling of new thought patterns, and every single time I walk away, I feel refreshed.
I agree. So, I'm really looking forward to it. There's going to be a lot of amazing sessions and learning about new technology that's on the scene, and connecting with friends and partners, and it's just going to be really nice.
I'm super excited.
Mm-hmm, definitely.
This will be my second scaling, and I love last year's. It's just a whole different vibe. Like, you can really feel how passionate everyone is. And that, I will say, the Scaling New Heights conference is one where people didn't run away. Even if inventory wasn't their specialty, everyone was just really engaged and wanted to learn about what you were doing and what your app does. And even if they never touch inventory, just really receptive. And I really love that.
So those of you who don't go to Scaling New Heights that are joining us and are kind of wondering, what are we talking about? So Scaling New Heights is the conference to go to if you are a QuickBooks Pro advisor. So if you're looking for more and you're ready for the next level of education, there's some of the best speakers in the entire world that are going to be there at Scaling New Heights, and they have industry specific areas that they focus in, and they teach classes and they give some of those information. So Heather and I are both going to be teaching there as well.
We are, yeah.
But we have all of the apps that come and they join us, and so the people who go to Scaling are truly hungry and ready for more.
Definitely.
And so they're coming and they're talking to our app partners because they are really, truly and ready for more information. So we're very, very sharing community.
We are,
with each other.
absolutely. So
Yep.
I'm excited to get there and dive right in with both feet. So we have, just going to go ahead and click through just a couple of our last slides. So please do check out our website. All of our episodes are recorded, and we upload our PowerPoint slides there. We have some additional slides from today's session just as reference materials for if you want to learn some more about Locate.
And I'm going to shamelessly plug, please go like our Facebook page. Please go follow us on Twitter.
Right.
Please locate us.
Locate us. And then don't forget to visit the Locate website to learn more. Visit us at the booth at Scaling New Heights.
Yes.
And then join our Appy Hour Lounge Facebook group. So not only are accountants in our Facebook group, but we also have our app partners there. So it's a great place for all of us to kind of come together and chat about our industry. So, and make sure that you register for the Zoom so you can get our monthly newsletter and join in the fun live with us.
Oh, this next slide. Oh my gosh, can I just go ahead and share and spill?
Sure, yeah.
Okay, so we're going to be at Scaling New Heights. We're going to have Appy Hour live on Tuesday at Scaling, and we're going to have Annie Terry join us. So we're going to be talking about app partner. Yes, and being able to, the Pro Advisor and the apps working together. So we're going to be talking to Annie Terry. We're also going to have special guest Jeannie Whitehouse. I know, like that's like really amazing all by itself.
Right.
And then we're going to also have ADP, and they're going to come and talk to us with their people.
So we have two Pro Advisors. Yes, we have two Pro Advisors that work very closely with ADP that are going to be joining in the conversation as well. So
which is
going to be amazing.
Fun. So ADP did this really cool thing that said, you know what, let's just have our Pro Advisors come and talk about how it works in their experience.
Exactly.
And I thought that was really cool. And then we also have Penny Inc., who's going to come on and they're going to talk to us their expense cards. And so they're going to share with us some of those expense cards. So the first 50 to join us over our Marriott Lounge event. So it's the Destination Lounge that's located inside the Marriott right across the street. The first 50 to go over there are going to get a drink expense card to be able to get one of the drinks.
Yes. And that starts at 6 o'clock.
So
6 o'clock.
Big, really, really, really cool stuff happening.
6 o'clock Tuesday night, Marriott Lounge.
What else do we have that we're taking with us?
Yes. We have a limited quantity of QB Appy Hour shot glasses.
They're limited edition.
Limited edition. If you want a shot glass, join us in the bar.
Yes.
On Tuesday night from 6 to 7.
We'll have them with us.
Very exciting. And then on June 25th, we have a QB Appy Hour open mic episode with House Call Pro.
I can't wait.
Yeah,
I can't wait. They have really great customer service. I can tell you firsthand that I referred somebody over to them and they jumped on it.
That's amazing.
And have handled that person's needs.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Always.
Been very robust. We love it whenever our app partners help us. So thank you.
Thank
To our true sponsor. One more cheers with our April spritz.
Right? I almost spilled it all over me.
So you're located at booth number 39. At Scaling New Heights.
And give us a call in the meantime.
Yeah.
Talk to us. We would love to
Come
talk to
and
anyone.
locate you.
Locate us.
All right.
Absolutely.
We also want to say a special thanks to ADP as well. So
yeah, absolutely. So our brewery level sponsor ADP, they were on just a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
So thank you to them as well.
They had reached out and they said, how can we become more involved? So we just kind of want to say that we have this brewery level sponsorship, that if you want to be able to be on the Appy Hour and come on, this is a way that you can do that. So they're booth number 46.
Booth 46. So we'll see everybody in just a couple of days.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Kylie.
Thank you guys.
This
I had so much fun.
Thank
Thank
you.
you to Intuit for letting us.
Yes, thank you to
hang
Intuit
out here.
Done
to this. And it's been amazing. So thanks everybody for joining us today. We'll see you soon.
Hugs until soon.
Yeah. All right. Yay.
Bye.
Bye.